Good morning, guys. Welcome back to She Starts Saving, and this is Little List Friday, where we talk about all of the things that have given us a boost for the week. These could be financial, material, they can be visiting family, they can be a development with work. If you're self employed like me, it can mean finding work. If you're a pet owner, it can mean that your cat won a battle against another stray cat and didn't run off and continues to love you. That actually happened yesterday. I have video footage, but I can't insert it because I forgot to turn the sound on. And I'm Nicole, by the way, and I'm talking about my getting current journey, me being a UK baby stepper, trying to complete baby step one, the fact that I'm fully self-employed with an extremely fluctuating income that trickles in at all times of the month, and this is a weekly thing that I decided to do. This is week number 3, and so far I've met my uploading schedule. The sun is shining in Norwich, Norfolk, UK today, and that therefore means that the hay fever has kicked in March. Yay for my immune system and my body. So let's get started as much as I can. Hello to everyone who has followed me on Instagram, who may be viewing this. If you are viewing and you haven't subscribed, please subscribe already. That would be fantastic. Week I wanted to talk a little bit about business, freelance earnings, the work that I've been doing with the Prince's Trust, which is linked to that, the fact that I haven't succumbed to the media hysteria about coronavirus, and by that I mean just Google people panic buying loo roll in the UK, because coronavirus doesn't give you diarrhea, but it will save you when you're surrounded by your fortress of loo roll. Not. Your girl doesn't need to panic buy. I know enough about the supply chain so that every time I go and do a food shop, I buy an additional 2 or 3 items a week that are long-standing, things like tin tomatoes, flour, and a little pack of paracetamol, like the cheap stuff, because I worked in the supply chain for a year, so I know a little bit about that, and I know that if you panic buy, it will drive the price up and stocks will fall low. So this self-fulfilling prophecy will be there. Anyway, that's that one done. I haven't got coronavirus, I've got hay fever. I haven't been panic buying, I've just been doing my normal stuff because your girl has food in a cupboard over there that you can't see. Talking of this little gap, yes, the light is fixed. This is just the real obvious demonstration of how horrendous the light is in my kitchen versus my actual main working room. I have one window, which is this one here, and that feeds the whole space. But we manage. I'm filming this in my kitchen. I have coffee as per usual, and it is not 8:30 in the morning, it is 9:30, so we're doing better. Talking a little bit about business and timings, I finally, I think, cracked my working from home schedule. Now, when I was salaried and going into work and having to start work at 9 and finish at 5:30, did I really do 9 till 5:30? I was kind of forcing myself to be productive in the mornings. I am not by nature a work productive person in the morning. I can get up, I can do things, but I like my mornings really quiet. I like pottering around, doing a little bit of laundry, washing up, putting the laundry away, doing a bit of tidying, maybe doing some hoovering. My brain can't fully engage with the concept of business work, and I have found this to my detriment, where I have got up, tried to start work at 8 o'clock, and then spent 2 hours trying to hand sew a button on because I kept getting distracted by things. But I also work better in the evenings. I think it's something that happens to creative people. The juices start flowing in the evenings, and therefore I'll happily sit on a sewing machine at 10 o'clock at night, and as long as my neighbour isn't in, I will do that, because I'm conscious of the fact that where his bed is, on his side of the wall, is where my sewing machine is. And he's a bouncer, so he may or may not be working nights. So if he's out, I will work later and I'm more productive. So that is why at 9:30 this morning I'm cooking my dinner for later on. I will then put it in a little Tupperware pot and I can just microwave it and it's done really quick. And I'm not then kind of mid-creative flow having to pack my ironing board down because I have to set that up in my small kitchen. I'm not then having to try and pull the stuff out for cook, and before you know it, it's 2 hours later because I don't have anyone to do the washing up for me or the cooking for me. Your girl is single. Happily so, I might say. But I'm just trying to kind of make my productivity easier because business is booming. By now you will have seen my February budget recap. It was my best financial month ever. I didn't realise it at the time because I was emotionally eating and therefore emotionally overspending on my food budget mainly. But from a business perspective, I have seen a real rise in the work that I have been doing from a creative point of view. That sounds really vague, so I'm going to try and break it down for you. I have, in January, when it was a 5-week month and I didn't know what I was doing, I had no film work lined up, and I just thought, you need to make money that isn't from income support or universal credit, because I want off that stuff as soon as I can. It doesn't help that I'm already registering as making a loss, because every time you spend something, if you haven't had business money coming in or business earnings, then it registers as making a loss. So it's going to take longer for me to come off universal credit, and that is the plan. I want off it as soon as possible. The only way I can do that is by earning more from business, and then currently I need to recoup the loss that they think I have made. Very complex. It's an awful system. Blech. We'll get there. So I'd started to try and list things for sale. I'd gone back to my parents, I'd gone through their garage, I'd pulled out costumes that I'd made and hadn't used or sourced and were no longer needed. I pulled out all of my fabric and just listed it. Something sold, i.e. the existing costume items, but the fabric's not so much, and that's what I had the most amount of. And I realised kind of by week 3.5 in January that, hang on, there's a whole resource of people out there kind of on Facebook who are involved in costume, and these guys are LARPers, Renaissance Fair people, reenactors, or specifically non-historical accuracy reenactors. What if I make a couple of things that are really simple for me to make and put them up? Will they buy these items, existing, made, over just the fabric for them to do it themselves? And it worked. I sold, so if I look at purely the raw total number of sales, and then I break down the cost per item to make, and then how much net income I have made just off this avenue, and how much profit I've made just on this avenue, I've seen a month-on-month growth. So if I just give you a summary of total number of sales or total number of units, by the time I'd kind of got this rolling, because I was very slow to start, even after I had that realisation in January, I'd sold 3 units at the end of January. In February I sold 17. By week 2 in March I'd sold 10. Now, obviously these things take time for me to manufacture, and this is where the Prince's Trust is kind of coming in. I've now progressed on to the stage where I'm working one-to-one with their business support for my business ideas. You don't have to take one, you can take many, and then over time you can refine them and decide whether you're going to carry both forward or just focus on one. And I have 2. Well, number 1 is extremely complex. In a brief summary, it's setting up a film and television production company that works solely with creatives and filmmakers outside of London. At the minute, I'm going to try and focus on the East Anglian region because that's where I am based and that's where I know the creatives. But that is very complex in terms of how do you create the films, how do you get the funding, how do you then stream or broadcast the funding, because the industry is going through a real interesting time. That's far too complex for me to get into in this video, and I would want to do a lot more research before I try and break down what is going on with the industry at the minute. But suffice to say, it has had an impact on the amount of freelance work that I can pick up. For example, if you are not based in London, you are less likely to get a role, to even be considered for a role, even if you're willing to undertake the cost of travel yourself, which is something I would do. And it's not just affecting me, it affects many other creatives and filmmakers across the kind of tiers of how they work in the industry. Very complex, don't know how far I can take that. Number 2 is to try and develop what I have kind of stumbled upon. The most kind of beyond selling the odd item on Facebook here or there, like a book or this, that and the other, this is where the bulk of my income came in February, excluding obviously the amount I kind of get from the government as income support. Now, the beauty of the Prince's Trust is they have what's known as a Will It Work grant. That is free money up to £500, although the average they approve is about between £175 and £250. Excuse my voice there. The average they approve is between £175 and £250, and that is the money for you to take, to spend, to see if your business idea will work. So if you do t-shirt printing, it will give you a set amount of money to buy some t-shirts, buy some printing materials, print on them and sell them. Does your business idea work? It's free money, you don't have to pay it back, and I think that's a really good thing, because a lot of ideas and places that I found when I was looking for business advice very much promoted go out and get a startup loan, and I already have debt, my credit history is shot, and I don't believe that a business should start in debt. It's just another cost that you have to try and cover when you're a startup. Now, why would I want to utilise this? I would want to utilise this because currently I've been working through my own stock. My stock will run out In fact, I want it to run out because that means I'm actually selling things and making money and doing well. And also, it's taking up space that I don't really need. My car is currently an additional fabric storage unit. I'm not going to show you a picture because I'm embarrassed, but I can't see the back seat, and I haven't seen the back seat for about 4 months. That's how much I have. I think I've got about 100 metres of fabric still left, and I have made and used quite a lot already. So, but also, as I'm kind of creating these items and listing them, I'm kind of seeing which ones, because I'm selling through Facebook, I can kind of access Facebook analytics to a certain degree. So I can see how quickly a listing attracts attention. If it's a mixed listing, so there's a multicoloured item, a patterned item, a black one, a brown one, an orange one, I can see how quickly a black one gets attention versus a multicoloured one versus a patterned one. How many people, if I have one available, how many people are contacting me saying, I want that item, can you make me that item? And it has actually led to a couple of commissions. I've had more commission requests than I have had actual commissions carry through, and that is because people's understanding of the costs of fabric, they aren't there yet. Obviously, I've been able to make what I'm making and selling because I would take 100% of the profit, you know, beyond the cost of a clasp, which might be 64 pence, for example. Now, I'm starting to see, and I can start to see and identify what items are more popular in terms of colour and style, but I am running out of those types of fabrics. So the Will It Work grant will come in handy because I can then actually, you know, wholesale buy the clasps that I need, because currently I'm having to buy them at retail cost in very small packs, and that's obviously affecting my profit line. I'm also trying to source woolen based fabrics, not even 100% wool, but woolen based mixed fabrics at wholesale cost is very difficult because they often have a minimum order quantity, and this can be 10 or 20 meters. I don't have the raw capital there, but actually in order for me to try and see if this idea has kind of mid to long term growth that I can use to sustain me month on month and get rid of the need for universal credit, and actually I can take on film work as an additional extra, I need to know that I can put that money in. So that's the idea that two ideas that I'm going to take, but I'm going to try and push idea number 2, the one that I've kind of has come about. It's grown of its own volition. I'm going to see how far that one goes. Business idea. I also, as a result of the business course that I did last week, I didn't, even though I had the money there, I didn't choose to buy a domain name for my Wix based website. It was coming in at about £104, and currently like my professional website is like .wix.com, and it's not very professional. I definitely kind of feel that, but Wix and Weebly, websites like that, self-building websites I've been doing for, goodness me, how old am I? 7 years. When I first started doing it last year of uni, it was one of the requirements for the modules of my course to create kind of a website or self-promotional based tool that was digital and online as part of my final exhibition. Did that, and I've been using the two quite comfortably between them, but over time your needs and what you want from your website will change. But these things obviously have quite a high price tag attached, and as a result of speaking to the guy who came in to look at digital marketing and social media and website building, I decided not to do that. So that is definitely a win, because I am not £104 in the hole, so to speak, for a cost that may or may not happen. It means that for now I am going to persist with the .wix.com, and then I'm actually going to look into buying a domain name, buying a host site, and then self-building fully with kind of coding and things from scratch. A lot of that is dependent on me getting a laptop which is broken and I can't afford to replace yet. That's a huge separate thing. I need something that's going to host the software and run at the speed that I need it to. So the moment you start really drilling into specifications, you then realise like a £200 laptop isn't going to work. And for now, I can kind of cope between my iPad and my Google Pixel phone. The only issue there is obviously the software doesn't correspond, so editing is not the easiest and uploading is not the easiest. But I did manage to film and upload my February budget recap video this week, so that would actually be 2 videos a week, which is something I'm trying to strive for. Now I have the time, I have no excuse not to. Cat's been amazing. Cat isn't in right now, otherwise I'd show you him and just go, look how cute he is. He's still cute, he's still adorable. He ran a fight with another adorable stray cat yesterday that I totally would have taken in if they were friends, but they're not friends, so yeah. My birthday is this month, and one of the little sinking funds, I say small pots, it's not really a sinking fund, that I was trying to build was because I wanted to try and do something. Now, living away from friends and family, as I do, I'm perfectly fine to travel, but it means that I would need to put the cat in a cattery if I wanted to go for a meal, etc., or if I wanted to do something. I was looking on like Groupon for spa deals and things, and they're there, and if I can get mum to cover her half, that makes it cheaper and could kind of do that. So I was looking for like 50 or 60 and kind of do something, because I'm 28, I don't really want stuff. Mum and dad have asked for a birthday list, and I was kind of like, can I just have vouchers please, because if you give me actual money then I will spend it on actual bills. But I was looking on Groupon last night and found a really good spa offer on Groupon, and rang mum being like, can you front your side? And she went, hold right there. You and I haven't had a mini break. We normally have a mini break every March and September. Slight backstory here. We have a mini break every March and September if we can manage it. I think we had 1 year off, either 2018 or 2019, because of stuff going on. She and I have had a very up and down relationship in the past, but actually that really helps us, and they are extremely budget friendly because mum is a saver. She's a nerdy saver. I am a nerdy spender. I'm a nerdy spender, mum is a nerdy saver. But the way it works is that it will say, let's go to the Lake District or to the Peak District or to the beach, for example. Not that beaches are worth going to in the UK, but you get what I mean. And we'll try and find somewhere, we'll pick the dates, and by mini break I think it's maybe like 3 or 4 nights is the maximum we've ever, I think it might have even been 3 nights. I'll do the driving, we'll split the fuel, we'll work out how much the fuel is. Mum will then say to me, just tell me how much it's going to cost. So we'll go halves on the hotel, we'll either share a double room or a twin room. I will work out how much petrol my car or fuel my car is going to need, plus a little bit extra in contingency, and that will be halved. I will then go and look at everywhere that we can eat, how many nights that we need to eat, which places have set menus, and pretty much pick if we're going for Thai food because they have a set menu and we can get 2 courses for £15 with a drink, for example. And we're going to this place, we'll probably go to the coffee shop and we'll get a coffee and a cake, and that'll be £5. So our food budget per day is £20, for example. If mum wants to go on a boat trip on the lake, or I want to go and visit a country house that's got an entry fee, we plan those in advance and that cost is factored in. And at the very end, I go to mum and say, you need to bring £300 plus whatever you want to spend for you. That's how we've done it. This year it wasn't looking likely. I owe the bulk of my debt to my mum and dad, and I didn't really feel that it would be right to go to them and say, let's go and have a mini break at X amount. That wouldn't, I felt, go down well, and I wouldn't feel right doing that. The most we've ever spent on these is £500, and that's because we actually ended up kind of cutting into the very end of the summer prices, and we realised that, and we have since scheduled later. We also had planned in a couple of extra things as well that were like built-in costs, but that's the most we have ever spent on these breaks, and that also includes like personal spending money as well, so it's okay. And she said, your dad and I have been playing with an idea for 2 or 3 weeks about going over to a place that I'd visited back in October for a training based thing. I'd kind of come back and said to them in passing I loved it, and actually I thought it'd be a good idea for us to kind of put into the pot whenever we can afford to go. Didn't think any more of it. It was a passing comment. And she said, by the time we've obviously paid for take you for a meal and bought you a birthday present, what if we paid for your part of the accommodation, go away for 2 nights. Obviously I do the driving because mum can't cope with that level of driving. That's 4 hours of extremely intensive motorways trying to get from one side of the country to another, A roads, speed cameras, controlled speed limits, getting off a motorway, getting on another one. It would blow her mind. I'm fine and my car can handle it. She said, obviously we'll look for food, we'll go for a couple of nights, so that will cut down there. The problem is that this area that we're going to has been really badly hit by flooding, consistently for the past 3 months. It's just been getting it. The difficulty is that with all the new news coverage about coronavirus, we don't know really what's going on over there, and we're due that side of the country is due another really bout of heavy rain. So we don't even know if the area we want to go to is kind of safe to go to in terms of like natural stuff. So we're going to be reassessing the situation next week, and it would be for 2 days, and it would either, it'd be fine. But it means that I'm going to have to pour money into that pot really, really, really quickly, because even if it doesn't go ahead, there'll be something else that we do instead that we'll try and like figure in. So I've done some very, very rough calculations this morning, and I need to try and pull together into that pot £170. Which means that I need to start saving. And that's fine, because in fact all of my major bills have come out, so I am now at the point where, apart from a little bit of personal money here and there, I can start refilling the pots that I'd had to empty in order to pay all of my bills. You'll see it in my March kind of video, but I basically, like, the week converged and I had all of my big bills come out at once. It's not a problem, the money was there, I just had to take from certain pots to another. It's fine. So yeah, it did, like, I'm glad she told me, because they were going to surprise me. And actually, if they had surprised me, I wouldn't have had enough money there, because the fuel alone is going to be about, I would want to allow £70, which would be more than what I was going to originally put in that pot. And so now I can get a head start. So more items are being listed today. I've been busting my gut doing sewing and things, and it will work. I'll get the money in, and if it doesn't, I know that I can go to them and say, I don't have as much there that I'm comfortable with. Can we do something else instead? Even if it's just a super long day trip somewhere, let's do that instead. So that's what we're doing. Hopefully, if the weather kind of all comes in, you know, I would say flooding in a major region of the country, flood hit communities should get as equal level of news coverage as coronavirus, but there we go. British red top tabloid media hype, don't get me started. Yeah, my coffee has run out, which is why I haven't been drinking anymore, and why I'm going to wrap this up. So yeah, I'm going to have to do so much editing, because this is the 4th time of trying to do this, and I have got bits and pieces of videos and stuff that I want to use and try and edit together, so I have no idea what length this is going to run to. It's probably going to be a long one. I do apologise, but there's lots of content this week. Oh, I got a film job. Very briefly, the guy I couldn't see last week because lighting problems, check out that video. I was able to have a telephone conversation with him. I have got a week's work in April filming the trailer. It is paid. I'm not going to say how much because I have signed a form. I will tell you after, and you'll see it in the budget after. Anyway, if the trailer is going to be used to get funding. If the funding goes ahead, there will then be a further 3 weeks of filming in July. It's paid, it's a feature. I need to negotiate my fee for that if it happens, because if they don't get funding, there's no need. I would need to cancel my hiking Duke of Edinburgh assessment week. So from a financial perspective, it would be great if that happens, because I can pause and stop on that sinking fund, and I will obviously be earning money. From a personal perspective, that is a week in the year that I look forward to every single year. It's an unpaid holiday, but I get my petrol and reimbursement, and get to be around different interesting people doing something I love outside in an area of the country I love. So yeah, right, okay, quickly run up. Don't forget to like and subscribe, leave your comments down below, let me know your little lifts. Joel and Christy, long run with Joel and Christy, I've remembered your name. Yes, thanks for commenting. Hi guys. If you've come over from Instagram, please like, subscribe, please. I need to know someone's out there and listening beyond Joel and Christy and my personal Facebook, my personal YouTube. And I will see you next time. Bye bye.